Jim Gordon here in the offices of the Richmond Sentinel. Time for another edition of Richmond Stories. Two small men with big hearts started over 40 years ago with one single truck. Today's CEO and owner, Addison Parfiniak, says the company's growth began by using the franchise model of ownership. He joined the firm in Edmonton and later purchased the Edmonton operation with a partner. Parfiniak steadily began buying out other locations and then bought out his partner. He now owns all of the corporate offices in Western Canada and oversees the running of the entire operation. Today, they have 25 offices from Victoria, BC to Ottawa, Ontario, and are the largest independent moving company in Canada. Well, now we are back here at the desk in the Richmond Sentinel offices, joined on camera by Jeff Pawer, the Territorial Manager for Vancouver. Jeff, welcome to Richmond Stories.
Thank you.
Let's start with the company name. I've certainly seen the trucks, as many people have over the years. I love the name. It's Two Small Men with Big Hearts. Give us a brief background on how that title became what it is.
The company was started by two friends about 40 years ago here in Vancouver. And they weren't the biggest physical individuals.
Right.
And but they, right from the beginning, they wanted to change the moving industry by having a heart. In other words, caring for the customers, caring for staff members, and that sort of thing. And it developed from there.
And Jeff, with a company like yours, there are different models that can be used where, say, the head office owns all the franchises or there's franchisees. With your company, how is it set up?
So in Western Canada, the corporate office owns the majority of the franchises, and we're just in the process of moving eastward and picking up some franchises there.
Okay. One of the things we try to do with these segments, and I hope we succeed, is to also be educational. Moving, other than your health, is probably one of the most stressful times in a person's existence. We all have done it. Can you give some advice on what people should look for when looking for a company, hopefully yours, but what are some of the things, the pitfalls to avoid?
I think the biggest key to a successful move is being organized in terms of having your items ready, packed, and if they're not packed, letting the moving company know that. So because a lot of moving companies offer packing services as well. But so organization is the key. One of the things that I always recommend is make sure the moving company that you select is insured and bonded, and make sure that they will take care of you should something go wrong.
And is that something that's easily or easy to find in terms of research?
I think if you go online, check reviews, that's really important. There's a lot of reviews for the different moving companies. If you know people, we get a lot of business from referrals where people will see our truck in a neighborhood and they'll approach us that way. And also friends and family, I think, is a good resource to find out, who a good moving company is. And
since the dawn of time with businesses, you cannot, as we were talking about off camera, you can't please everybody.
Right.
And I have talked to people over the years about how to address complaints, customers not happy. I've talked to people who have just kind of buried their head in the sand and hope it goes away. I sense you guys don't do that, but everybody has to, you can't please everybody. How do you guys deal with this? Because again, you are dealing with people's memories and their possessions.
So we have, in our company, we have an entire after-service department. They so once the move is completed, they take over, good, bad, or otherwise. So we take a lot of compliments. We also they tell us about the reviews they want to write, that sort of thing, and they also handle the claims side. And that is sometimes something might slip, drop, break, that sort of thing. They have a complete autonomy to settle claims.
Excellent, that's good.
So they don't have to answer to anybody in terms of what they're allowed and not allowed to do. So they have complete autonomy. They investigate every claim thoroughly from start to finish and typically favor the customer and that's how we built our reputation.
One of the points I loved, I just want to reiterate this, you mentioned, it sounds simple, but probably people don't do this, is really communicate with your mover about, I'm going to be packing a lot of things. I found with my last move many years ago, that I communicated with them that I'm going to be packing everything. You just got to come in and move the big things, right?
Sure,
So it's good to do that with the company. Let's switch gears a little bit. In this day and age, and I mean this in a very positive, good way, I love that companies who have been around a long time feel even more strongly today that they must get involved with the community. You guys certainly do that. I just want to point out a couple things that Two Small Men with Big Hearts get involved. Donate 10% of profits back to local organizations. In 2022, you raised $1 million for local charities, and in this year, 2023, pledged $200,000 in funds. I'm not saying that companies haven't always been socially conscious and aware,
right,
but it is something nowadays that is expected, and that's a good thing. Talk about your involvement in this community and others across the country.
So my background, I've been in transportation for over 40 years. And I've done a lot of community work. I've been involved with Special Olympics here in Richmond. I've been involved in youth soccer here. I've been on the board of Richmond Soccer. And one of the reasons, about just under 2 years ago, I was switching gears in my career. And one of the reasons I was attracted to Two Small Men is because of their community giving. And it really is a corporate culture.
Yeah.
It starts with our owner, Addison, and it goes all the way down right to the movers. The movers love to go on these kinds of moves because they know they're giving something back to the community. Doesn't necessarily cost the mover anything out of their pocket because the company is donating everything. So, on a personal level, it's extremely important to give back to the community. And this company really believes that. We have an actual committee set up that focuses on what we're going to do for the community, how we're going to go about doing that, and I'm proud to be on that committee.
And it's a win-win for everybody, isn't it? And I'm glad to see that corporations, big companies are really responding well with that. A couple of the points I wanted to mention, I did not know this, but we seem to be helping other communities and countries around the world in fighting fires. Which our people go over there, they come over here as they're doing the summer. You moved donated equipment for Vancouver firefighters to help the first responders in the Philippines. I know how much we're appreciating the help we're getting. How important was that for the Philippines?
Well, so in North America, the firefighting equipment has a shelf life, I believe it's 10 years.
Right.
After 10 years, it can't be used anymore. However, in some of these other countries, it's a very valuable commodity. So we actually had our partners in Winnipeg drive a truck out of firefighting equipment to Vancouver, and then here in Vancouver, our trucks went and distributed this stuff to a container, and that container was in fact bound for the Philippines with, like I said, valuable firefighting equipment.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, that we're all helping each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Fires happen everywhere at all times of the year.
Yeah.
One of the questions that I seem to be asking less and less, and I'm glad to say, for a long time, my opening question in 2020 and 2021 and even at 22, COVID, businesses. With what you guys do, how is that affecting your business? How did you see it affecting your partners? And I want to mention, again, sticking with assistance, you guys donated unlimited moves for those in need or nonprofit organizations. Talk about 2020 to basically the end of 2022.
Sure. So COVID made us incredibly busy.
Yeah.
A lot of people were moving because they were now working from home instead of an office, so they might have moved up in their home because they wanted a home office, that sort of thing. It was an incredibly busy time. One of our core values for the company is safety. So we had, all the safety protocols in place in terms of going into people's homes during COVID with masks, sanitizer, and that type of thing. So we were being very, very, very careful, but it was a very, very busy time. And we find that there was, for the vast majority, very successful moves. People were, very excited to change, especially during a tough time.
Yeah.
It was exciting for them to move, to different places. Yeah.
And people are always going to need to move. One of the things that has certainly been consistent in the news over the last little while are people looking for staff Is that something that you guys have been struggling with, or people? I mean, obviously a great reputation. People want to work at companies with great reputations. How has your situation been over the last couple of years?
Staffing is a bit of an issue. Again, we're fortunate because we've been around for so long. Potential employees recognize the name and the brand.
Right.
And we find we get a number of people will come to us because of our community giving, because they want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And so it's a bit of an attraction in that sense too. So a combination of branding and the community giving has made it less impactful, but it is a bit of a challenge, getting good skilled labor.
Let's talk about crystal ball it here. Let's talk about the next few years. Plans, expansion further east into the Maritimes. Tell us about some of the things you guys are looking to do.
So I think we're looking at some of the smaller areas within British Columbia and Western Canada. We've just picked up Kamloops as an example, which is a smaller area, but is a good hub. We do a lot of long distance moves, and so we utilize our partnering offices to use labor in these different communities. So if we're going from Vancouver to Prince George, for example, we could pick up labor from our Kamloops office. So it's beneficial in that sense, and also we're able to service the community of Kamloops. As an example, we also are moving eastward, as you mentioned, towards the Ontario market.
It's interesting. I never thought about that too. But you have these small communities in provinces like this. You're trying to get, so you can set up, say, in Kamloops, which allows you to get to all the smaller communities in the region if needed.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Any last words you would like to say to the viewers of the Richmond Sentinel?
No, just that I'm proud to be part of a company that gives back to the community. I live and work in Richmond, so I'm happy to be able to do that on a local level.
He is Jeff Pawer, the Territory Manager for a wonderful company, Two Small Men with Big Hearts. 40 years in the biz.
Yes.
That says a lot. And I love it when a guy comes and wears the team jersey. That's fantastic. Jeff Pawer, thank you for being a part of this Richmond story.
Thank you.
Well, that's it from the Richmond Sentinel offices with another Richmond story. Thanks to our crew, and thank you for watching. Look for us on Facebook, on our website. We'll be back with another Richmond story. I'm Jim Gordon. Thank you again for watching.